Let's add another element to this. Now I've got my Venice open, and you'll see on the right hand side I've already popped in an image, and I used the float left. Using the lefts and the float lefts and the right in Bootstrap is slightly different. So I'm going to show you how I went about doing this. I'm going to go back over here, and I'm just going to go to, take this off for a moment. And I'm going to go in here so we can see where it is in the code. I'm going to go put it right about here. All right. And I'm going to go to responsive items circular. Okay, and it comes up looking like that. And then we save it so it goes away. Then I'm going to go and I'm going to grab that same image I have there. And I'm going to use my properties here because it's just easier. I'm going to use my properties, and I'm going to click here, and I'm going to use that, open up that same Venice. Okay. So now you see it, and it's big, and we may or may not want it that size. I wanted it smaller, so I went into the width, and I just changed up the width. It's linked, so it gets smaller, but it isn't a float left. Now what happens is, and I had to look this up because I said, I know there's a float right, a float left in here. And so what I did was I went and I typed in and said, how can I do this? And I got this piece of information. Okay, so I learned through reading this that there is a class called float. All right, so let's go back, and we're going to go back here. And I'm going to say, okay, if there's a class called float, I can do the following. I can go into my code, make sure I'm clicked there so I know where I am. Let me shut that down for the moment. And I'm going to put in a class. I'm going to say span class equals float. See now, see they're coming up. Float dash right. See, it's coming up. Okay, so it exists. I have to put this in my. I forgot to put those in the quotes. Quote. Quote. All right. And so then I put the other one in. See, this is why you still need to know how to write your code. So I'm going to grab this, copy it, and I'm going to take it down to the end of this where it is. I'll put it in there, and I'll take that one out. And you'll see that I've added it as a float. Now the other thing which is interesting is that, say I've done this, and I did this, I went into my my personal CSS. Remember, the thing about CSS is cascading style sheets, which means this comes in after the earlier one. So after the bootstrap one, and so anything you want to add up. So I'm going to float right, and I can do anything. So notice with the left I put a padding there, but for this one I'm going to just show you, and I'm going to change background color to aqua for no apparent reason. Okay, and I'll save the whole thing. Go back to tour, and it didn't come up. That's because there's not much there. Okay, so let's go back here. So we'll do what we did the other one, which is we put a padding on it because padding seems to work. Padding allows it to have a little more space inside. Copy. Oops. Copy. Paste. And when we go back here, you'll see we've got more space around it. Okay? So those are the kinds of things you need to be thinking about. There are a lot of things you can do in Bootstrap. I sat and I tried doing this. I tried to bring in the responsive video piece here. Let me just bring one in here. This is going to be such a mess. And I went in a responsive image video. The video embed doesn't work. It doesn't seem to want to load in YouTube. I'll show you what it looks like when I tried. I got this, can't open this page. Even in Chrome, same thing. So that doesn't seem to work quite well as I would like.